Hello, I'm Francis Seeley from Global Net 21 and MPhil Voices, and this is one of the many webinars we do where we talk about the many good things people are doing in our communities globally, nationally, and indeed locally. And we're going to do something different today, which we've not done before, and we're going to look at care homes. We're going to interview Nicolas Kee Mew, who you can see here, and he is the manager of Elsyng Care Home, which is a new home just starting up. And he's really here. I think he's in his first month, so he's full of excitement with the opportunities ahead of him, which always happens when you're on a new project. And so we're going to talk to him about care homes, and particularly about care homes and the elderly in a time of crisis. Crisis like COVID, and crises like the future one. It is present, but it's going to get worse in the future, and that's climate change. Anyhow, Nicolas, thank you very much for joining us today. And could you start by very briefly giving us a little bit of information about your background?
Yeah. First of all, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, Francis, for inviting me for this platform. So a bit about myself. I'm Nicolas Kee Mew. I'm originally from Mauritius. So about my journey in care is I started as a housekeeper in 2006 because I was a student. I came to England to study accountancy. So then I found a passion. I found that it was my first job. It was the first time that I've been in a care home. So then my passion started. So I got promoted to care assistant, senior carer, deputy, and home manager. In the past, care homes, I've been a care home manager for the last 6 years. So I have run some outstanding care home in Wimbledon, and also I work for charities, which was like top 20 care homes. I think for me, my passion for dementia started very young. So when I was 15 or 16, I noticed that my granddad was a bit different. So I did approach my parent. I said that, I think granddad is forgetting, but because of the healthcare in Mauritius, where I'm from, was very poor. So they didn't know about dementia. So they just told me, oh, don't worry, it's old age. So that's what brought me my interest into dementia. I'm someone who started I failed my A-level. For young people who's watching us, I really want to inspire you guys that, even though you fail your A-level, if you have a passion, you can always progress. So at the moment, I done a degree in business management in 2011. This year, I'm doing my second year, a master degree in dementia at Stirling University. So I do a lot of voluntary job for Alzheimer research, Alzheimer Society. And for me, my passion is about the community. So this year, I done my marathon for Alzheimer research, even though there was COVID. So I raised 700 for my marathon. I think that, I want to inspire people to join the care sector.
Yeah, well, let's go through that point by point. And I'm glad you talked about your interest in dementia, because I was going to ask you that, and I know that you are doing a master's in that, and that's really interesting. But what made you? What was the first time you thought, I'd like to be working with the elderly? I'd like to be a manager in a care home. And when you thought that, did you have a vision of the way care homes should be managed?
Yeah, I think I always tell my colleagues or people who ask me how to be a great leader in care, I'm an accident manager. It just happened that, I got promoted, and also I found that, I make a difference for the resident, for my colleagues, and also that I have seen results from CQC. I think what I would say is, if you have a passion, especially for elderly, you always need to educate yourself, do the training, learn, do some qualification. There's a lot of free qualifications, such as NVQs that you can do, level 2 in health and social care, level 3, level 5, why not? So I think it's about getting the right support from the company, getting the right support from charities. There are lots of charities that will support you. There's Skills for Care. There's a lot of organization as well. I was quite lucky to be part of the National Care Forum. So 2019, I was a rising star by the National Care Forum, which is a non-profit organization supporting care homes. This has really helped me to have a mentor for 1 year. So I had a mentorship. I was able to network. I was able to meet the health minister. I was able to be invited for for webinars such as the Kingston, and recently I'm doing the virtual care festival. So I think it's a great platform to really meet people in social care and also to network.
Okay, and obviously elderly people are frail very often and they're vulnerable. And at a time of crisis, they become even more vulnerable. And COVID has highlighted that, particularly at the moment. What's your experience of how COVID has impacted on care homes?
I must be honest as well, we have been impacted by COVID starting from March. I myself, I had COVID. So being frontline workers is about supporting them, especially when I can give an example. For example, for me, I'm 34. When I had COVID, I had the cough, temperature. I felt very weak, very tired, change of appetite, diarrhea, and so on. So I always put myself in the shoes of the resident. So for an 80 years old elderly gentleman or female, how will they feel with the changes? There has been a great impact as well in terms of testing, because from the beginning, from March, April, May, the testing wasn't available for care homes. So there has been I have to put my foot down, insisting at the hospital, fighting for the rights for the resident to be tested before they come to the hospital. I am glad that I was among the few managers that I really insisted that the resident should be tested first, so that it don't spread in the care homes. And also, I think there has been a lot of guidelines. Every time it kept changing. Every Friday evening, I think we are in our 10th or 11th guidelines. For me, it was about updating myself, updating my team, updating the resident, keeping informed as well the family members, because I can't imagine how a family member will feel, because they trust us in a care home.
I was going to ask you.
The care home should be a safe place.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. The families. I mean, it must be terrible to be in a care home and you can't see your loved ones, your families. How were you able to help them get through that?
Yeah, so the government guidelines told us that care home visits should be banned, only for doctors and so on. So for us, before the government told us, we locked down the care home. That was in my previous provider, because I just joined Auckland. And also what we've done as well is to encourage, because we understand that family members and residents, we can't separate them. We need to encourage them to interact, to meet, because that's their loved one, their husband, their wife, their mother. So for us is to make it as safe. So what we've done is we have like a visitors room where we have a screen, and also the family members will come, will of course wear PPE, sanitize their hand, and also we will take them to the other side of the room and they can see their loved one. We have also used a lot of technologies as well to facilitate contact, calls, video calls. We had also done like birthday parties on Zoom. I think technology has really helped us, because back in March, nobody ever heard of Zoom. Even myself, I had to learn. Our resident, our staff had to learn how to use Zoom. Now we all a pro on Zoom. So I think it's using technology wisely, keeping family informed, I think it's important in care homes to have a open door policy, being transparent, keep the family in the loop every time, update them, tell them any changes, because we have nothing to hide. We just want to encourage them to have trust in us, that we are doing all our best in care homes to be safe. We're following the guidelines. We're following the best practice. All our staff as well now are being tested weekly. Our residents are tested monthly. We take the temperature. We take their SATs. We encourage safe practice.
You're a great champion, aren't you, of the digital age and how that can help the elderly. In fact, you've made speeches and given presentations on that, haven't you? I mean, how important is, or how valuable has the use of Zoom and Microsoft Teams and their StreamYard, whatever, all the digital tools, how has that helped you in your job?
It has helped us a lot. I must say, beginning from March, where the doctors, district nurse were worried to go into care homes. So we were able to use FaceTime, to use Zoom, to use WhatsApp, to do virtual doctors round, or also to get advice. And also it has helped us as well in terms of connection. So with Zoom, Teams, we can have meeting with family members, with the doctors, with myself and my team all together. So I think COVID has teach us, to be stronger and also to think outside the box. So we have used a lot of technologies. For me, my main passion is about dementia, about the experience, about how we can improve their lives, how we can make it fun with them to enjoy activities that are sensory, for example. So we have used a lot of technology in terms of like a magic table with projection. In my previous care home, I had like a room which was called the Rampart, where it was like a train feature. So I think with technology is about using it wisely, but sometimes as well there is a limit because there is so many technology now in the market. If you look on the internet, there is so many companies, so many products. When I done the King's Fund webinar, we were talking about what technology will we recommend for providers, for people to use. I think it's a personal choice because you just need to look at something which is first affordable, something that the family will use, the elderly will use, and everyone knows how to use it as well. And also to look at connection as well of Wi-Fi. There has been a lot of support in Age UK showing elderly or people who need support with technology. I think sometimes people get afraid of the word technology, but however, you just need to go for it. Just invest on it. A cheap tablet, for example, is around 40-50 pounds. Invest on it, get some support. You'll be very quick at learning. You'll be like a pro in a couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to do a webinar in December, I think it's December the 10th, with someone who's doing a lot of work on technology in care homes, and that's his passion and something that I think you'll be interested in. I mean, you've talked about the crisis of COVID, but we've got another crisis coming up, and that's climate change, and resilience and adaptability are going to become increasingly important. How do you think climate change is going to affect the elderly in care homes?
I think it's already affecting the elderly, it's already affecting the care homes, already affecting our community. I'm a bit advocate of climate change, sustainability. For example, with Elsyng House, where we're going to open in February. So our home has been built with, we've been registered with green marks, we've been registered with the Woodland Trust. So it's about looking at how we can improve in terms of reducing of electricity, for example, in terms of water recycling. So especially in a care home, working in a care home, I have noticed we have some elderly who are very, very particular in terms of they want to recycle. And then we have some staff members who don't recycle at home. So it's something that working in a community is about educating everyone. It's facilitating as well, like some recycling bin, for example. It's about helping each other because if I help a carer, for example, I encourage them about recycling. So when they go home, they will do the same with their children. The children will teach it to the school. So it's about doing everyone to do a little bits of their part. And I think with the elderly as well, we have seen. I come from a developing countries where people are poor. Whereas here, I think we are quite lucky in the UK. We have, we are a developed countries. We have all the facilities. We have lots of charities, lots of support, lots of community group like your group, for example. There's a lot of support and a lot of activists as well. So I think we should all work together because everyone should be everyone should matter. Everyone should be worried about climate change.
When did you yourself become concerned that climate change is a very serious problem? What was the sort of light bulb moment which made you think we've really got to address this?
Yeah, For me, it was when I was in Vietnam on holiday a couple of years ago. So we went to the seaside. We saw that it was like polluted. We couldn't swim at all. And also, I became part and interested when I was looking at on the internet. I saw a lot of activists. I saw as well, for example, my own country, Mauritius. A couple of months ago, we had like a shipwreck of oil called the Wakasho. So it was something that have affected me personally, uh, which the whole country was was affected. The fishermen, people couldn't work. For me, it bring me. I'm interested into this topic because I think I need to do something for society because I will have my children's. I want for the future as well for my children's. I think we need to do more, especially with the community, with young people, with everyone, elderly, with everyone should work together and be interested with the climate change.
Okay, that's how you yourself got involved. But back to the care home, you were telling us about how you are involved in recycling and so on. You actually use, don't you, what's called the BREEAM Sustainability Assessment Method, which makes the environment the center of everything. Do you want to tell us just briefly what that is?
I think with Elsyng House, we have the advantage that it's a brand new care home. So I mean, my colleagues, people from head office, the construction directors, my managing directors, and everyone has looked into creating a brand new care home which embrace sustainability, climate change, and also with Enfield as well. Enfield is one of the councils that are very hot in terms of climate change and so on. So that has really helped us to work together. For example, we're going to look at green travel plans for the staff, for visitors. We have a bicycle scheme for the staff to buy bicycle instead of driving, and also looking at creating champions as well, which we really embrace, which we really create a buzz with colleagues so that encourage them as well to be part of it. So we have a lot of plans in the future. I don't really want to say everything yet. Some of it I want to keep it as a surprise, but we have lots of plans, lots of things that will really change the care sector, because what we really want is to be a role model for other care homes to follow us. Because sometimes in the care sector is like, if a care home introduces something, if it works very well, everyone will copy. So we want to be a role model in the care sector, creating an environment that that the resident will benefit from it, creating a sensory garden, creating our own vegetable plot where residents can plant their own, grow their own plants, for example, using recycled rainwater to water the plants, for example. There's lots of ideas, but again, I must say it's a teamwork. I must say as well, we are very lucky to be in Enfield, where we have all those people from the council who are ready to help us. We have groups as well about sustainability. I think it's about teamwork.
I read about your recycling plans, even your recycling of water, which was, really interesting. But you also have a green travel plan, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you want to tell us what that is?
The green travel plan is to we have some champions at Elsyng House, so it's to encourage our new starters, which will start in February. So we'll share them our green travel plan. It's about knowing, for example, where are the nearest bus stop, the time of the bus, where having bicycle track, for example, where they can keep a bicycle, having bicycle stands, having a scheme for them, encouraging them as well to walk, encouraging them as well to use public transport, encouraging them as well, that to, for example, of course now we can't with COVID, but sharing a car, for example. I think it's about creating, educating people, helping them, giving them the information that they need, because sometimes we don't know about what time is the bus. We don't know, for example, that the bus stop is just down the road. We don't know what bus go to Enfield Town, for example. So it's about guiding them and supporting them to use less of their car, so that it will help the environment and also save costs as well.
Yeah, I mean, many elderly people, of course, are not in care homes, and they're going to be affected by climate change, aren't they? I mean, the heat wave in France a few years ago killed hundreds and hundreds of people, and the people worst affected were elderly women living alone in France at that time. I mean, do you think the problems of climate change is going to make care for the elderly outside of care homes as big a problem as those in care homes?
Yeah, that's a good question, Francis. But I think to summarize, I think at the moment our main thing is COVID, of course, in care homes, because COVID has affected the care sector, is killing people. In terms of climate change, yes, it's affecting our elderly, for example. In terms of how they're going to benefit, for example, if they go outside, what are they breathing? Because we have to recognize that in the UK, people live longer, so it's about the quality of life as well. It's about eating healthily. It's about enjoying nature, enjoying natural sun, natural light, benefiting from enjoying the nature, for example, smelling natural aroma, plants, flowers. I think it will affect the care homes, yeah. But I think there's always things that we can learn from. For example, in France, we can learn from other countries. But I think in the UK we are quite advanced in terms of protecting our elderly, because we have like the care quality commissions. We have a lot of organizations that support care homes, that monitor care homes. We have a very good healthcare as well. So I think that we are quite lucky to be living in the UK.
So one of the things that I know that you're very keen on is having links with the communities. You've only been in a few weeks and you're making a lot already, which is great. And I mean, is that important that you do that? Not just for your care home, but for elderly people outside the care home. For example, you're very keen, aren't you, on an intergenerational project?
I think yes, it's very important to connect with the community. For example, I was quite lucky to start a couple of months before the opening of the care home. So with social media, I was able to approach lots of charities. We approached the Enfield Dementia Alliance, the Enfield Age UK. We have also approached Rotary Club, lots of charities, lots of churches. It's very important, especially in the care home, because once we're in a care home, it's about community. I believe that it's important for our resident, our elderly, to be connected with the community. If the community can't come in our care home, we always find ways as well. For example, before COVID, we encourage intergeneration that you have seen a couple of years ago, I'm sure, on Channel 4. In my previous home, we had a club called Lingotot, who came in the care home, was doing French classes and Spanish classes to toddlers, and the resident was enjoying and learning French. So with COVID, what we've done is we done it on Zoom. So I have approached Lingotots. I have approached also the Treehouse Forest School, who are very interested to do some intergeneration with our resident, because I think it's important for our resident to see life outside the care home as well. If, for example, that they practice the faith, to encourage them as well, to support them, to have, for example, virtual mass on the tablets, to encourage those connections, because I think intergeneration really helps. We have seen a lot of benefits in care homes. I myself, I'm doing my master's degree. I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of assignment on intergeneration. This is something that really interests me about the benefits, about looking what make it looking forward for an elderly lady to wait for, I don't know, for John, who is 6 years old, to talk to her. So it's about creating those connections, because a lot of what I noticed as well, a lot of people in the community, their parents grandparents live abroad, for example, or they live very far. So it's having like a adopted grandma, for example. This was very popular a couple of years ago, a couple of months. We have seen a lot of care homes who done like a pen friends. So they write to each other, they share poems, they share pictures. It's something that, the residents really benefit from it. I have worked in several care homes. I have seen some residents really, really, you know, talking about it, or sometimes residents who cannot talk was singing with the residents. So we see the benefits of it, and we really want to encourage this.
Yeah, when you talk about care of the elderly, though, sometimes it can sound a bit patronising, can't it? And you're a great champion, aren't you, of the human rights of the people you care for, and also the workers. And you work closely with the National Association of Care Support Workers, don't you? How important is that in what you do to realise the human rights and the working conditions and the living conditions are always respected?
Yeah. For me, yes, I'm part of the National Care Forum. I'm part of Skills for Care. I'm part of a lot of groups in social care. I think it's very important as well not to patronize the elderly. Everyone, or I agree with you what you say, patronizing. Everyone is different. For example, with Elsyng House at Auckland, we believe in person-centered care. So it's about believing that everyone which come to our care home are unique, and we could treat them like a family. For me, about human rights as well, I'm a big advocate for our elderly. So it's about advocating for their rights, their human rights. So a couple of months ago, for example, I wrote to the MPs to challenge them about making sure that our residents are tested before they come in a care home. We can go above. A lot of managers like me, people in the social care, we will do everything for our residents to make sure that they have a quality of life, of course, and also because once they come in our care home, they're part of our family. I see them like a grandma, I see them like a granddad. It's about fighting for them as well, and also supporting as well their unpaid carers, for example, their family, their children, their husband or their wife, because some of them don't have access to information. They don't know their rights. They don't know that, for example, that they can contact the local authority to get support for fees, for funding. A lot of family members are struggling, especially in my last assignment, in my last research. I was reading a lot of articles about the ethnic minority, the Asian community, for example, which is a bit taboo in terms of putting their husband, wife, mom in a care home, because a lot of them don't get the right support. A lot of them, especially during COVID, not a lot of elderly who are into technology. Like people like us, we can go on Google, we can go on carehome.co.uk and find the care home, find information. But how are people in the community who never use a tablet, who don't know how to use the internet? Where are they getting the information? Those are the elderly that we shouldn't forget. So I think I'm a big advocate in terms of supporting charities, like, for example, Age UK Enfield. So I noticed that a couple of days ago, they started their fundraising about keeping people warm in their house, so fundraising for them. I will encourage everyone to, if you can afford, for example, support them. There's a lot of charities who are really thinking about people elderly in their house. I would advise as well for everyone who is listening is always check on your neighbor. You never know. You might have, for example, a neighbor that you never spoke to, elderly. You never know that he or she might need some help. He or she is struggling with food. Please, always check on your neighbor. Nice to send, a phone call or knock on the door with social distancing, ask if they need some help. Always as well, remember as well, we are going to be old one day. We might need help. We will need help from our future generation. So it's about believing in karma as well. It's helping, supporting each other.
Yeah, we're all going to be old someday. Some of us are already. Let me ask you that, it's very interesting listening to you talk about the human rights of those that are in care, but also about your workers as well, because workers are so undervalued, care workers, undervalued and underpaid, and it's really important. And it's interesting to see that you work with networks like Age UK, which is really great. how important it is, I mean, or how valuable is it to be in a network like the MTO Climate Action Forum, where you can link together with other people who are interested in climate change and the way it affects them as well, so that you can make connections?
I think this platform, especially on Facebook, I noticed that is connecting with other organizations, other individuals that has the same interest like me, for example. So it's creating a platform where we can support each other and where we can find information as well. So with this platform in mind, I was able to quickly create like a professional relationship with people in Enfield, for example. Most of us are quite related because I noticed that, for example, I know someone who is also part of the Enfield Voices, they're also part of the Enfield Dementia Alliance. But I think it would be nice to see more people joining us as well, so that it's not always the same Mary and John. I think hopefully with your platform, it will encourage the young generation as well to show interest. It will encourage parents to encourage their children to join us, because there's always a benefits. You know, they will not see the benefits now. It will help them as well in terms of their education, in terms of their career as well. We never know. I think in life is, we never know what life will bring us in the future. It's always use those groups, support around us to feel important as well. Because sometimes talking to someone who doesn't believe in recycling can be a waste of time. But however, if we have like a couple of people like us who will join forces, work together, and really enjoying it, make it a social event, make it something fun as well. Because recycling and so on can be boring, but for me, I a lot of people laugh when I say that. I do enjoy. I do once a year a litter picking around. So I do enjoy this community work, because it's about creating like a group to go together, socializing, like a fun games to see who got the many bags, rubbish bag, for example. Make it fun as well, and also encouraging school as well, encourage churches as well. It's important to encourage everyone. I think it would be hard, but I think we can do it all together.
Well, it's great that you're involved and you're a part of that network. And, we've got nearly 100 members now, and we've also got a youth group going with lots of young people in schools. So I hope we're doing some of the things you said. I mean, we're getting to the end of the interview now with 30 minutes. Finally, can I ask you then, if people wanted to get in touch with you, find out more of what you do, help you get involved, for example, in the Intergenerational Project, how would they do with it? How would they do it? How would they make contact with you?
Yeah, they can visit our website, aucklandcare.org.uk. So they can visit our website. We also have a marketing suite as well. They can pop in, of course, with appointment because of COVID. They can also email us. They can ring us. Even though it's not related about care homes, if you want advice on dementia, if you want advice about how to get funding for their loved ones, myself and my team will be very happy to support. Because running a care home is not only about the management, there's a whole team. I must give a big shout out to all my colleagues at Elsyng House who's working really hard, and everyone in the care sector as well. So they can always get in touch with us, and we will be happy to support.
Okay, well, thank you very much for taking part of that in the interview, because I think what you're doing is incredibly innovative, and when you start a new project and the home is new, you're always full of excitement, aren't you? You're always full of new ideas, and that's the time to get things shaped in the way you want. So good luck in what you're doing. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for doing the interview. And I'm sure people will contact you, and I hope they will, and I hope they'll help you out, because the work of the care sector is so important and will increasingly become so important as us baby boomers get older and older. So, thank you for doing this, Nicolas. And, we'll end this interview now.